Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the D&B Show. I am one of your hosts, Drew, and that is...
I'm Brandon.
Nice.
I am the other half of the hosting.
Of the hosting?
So.
Yeah.
He's the hoster, I'm the hostess.
Hostess. I think we didn't we do this last week?
We did.
I think we did. That's why it just came to your memory. You know, this week is a really exciting episode. We'll have an interview here shortly with a very good friend, a loyal listener, should I say. We have an interview with Mr. Douglas Craig, very good friend of ours. He has a very good mindset and strategy when it comes to, you know, how his approach. He's already a very successful individual, and he's only found more success with this. So it was a really good interview. We had a lot of fun, you know, chopping it up with him. How long have you known him? Because you introduced him to...
3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years.
We got introduced through a mutual friend and a past business that we both were involved in. He was leaving that business as I was getting into it, and then we've kind of had that in common. Literally, you know, we talk almost every day, even if it's just stupid stuff.
Let's go ahead and get into the interview. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the long-awaited and
bring the energy, man. Bring it.
I don't feel good. I'm trying my best here.
Drew's been sick for 2 weeks.
Literally ever since we got back. Welcome to the long-awaited and highly anticipated interview with none other than Mr. Douglas Craig himself.
Crickets. I mean, clap.
Oh no, everybody's excited. Welcome, Doug. Thank you for being on the podcast. Thank you for giving us a chance to interview you today.
Oh man, it's my pleasure. We are happy to be here, and by we I mean myself.
I love to hear it.
We're glad you're here too.
I'm just kind of bummed I wasn't invited to the studio.
Look, man. Microphones are expensive, right?
Hey, that might be a good Amazon product, huh?
It's saturated.
There we are.
Satched. We call it satched.
All right. Well, Doug, again, thank you for being here. Give us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your story. Let people know who you are.
Yeah, so I don't know, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I had a gentleman named Brandon Golomsky that's sitting to your left. Actually came to my corporate office there in Findlay, Ohio, and pitched me the idea of selling on Amazon.
And he laughed at me.
At first, I laughed. I made fun of him. He left pretty down and out that day.
Correct.
But he actually shared a video with me that I went home and I watched, and I got excited. And that night, I basically started my career as a seller on Amazon. I do private label products.
Nice. Man, so you can thank Brandon for it, huh?
He thanks me every week.
I thank him every Monday. I thank him.
Literally. Thank you for introducing me to e-commerce. I get that text.
Get that text every morning as soon as you wake up. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for introducing me.
He writes down my name in his journal every morning.
I do.
With a heart.
He's in my gratitude book.
Wow, that's quite an accomplishment, Brandon.
I didn't know that.
I don't have a gratitude book. I just thought that would sound cool.
That'd make a great Amazon product.
There you go.
No competition, because no one wants that. So.
Oh shoot.
Well, sweet. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you, Brandon, for getting Doug.
I'm just saving the world, one person at a time.
Yeah, because without you, we wouldn't be sitting here interviewing him.
Without me, I wouldn't be here either.
True.
So I gotta thank me too.
Exactly. A little self-love. You said about a year and a half ago you got involved in it?
Yeah, I would say it's been about a year and a half now. Yes.
Okay, cool. Sweet. That's quite a bit of time already. When you watched that video or maybe, did your own research, what really made you want to pursue it?
Well, I'm in the restaurant business right now. We're actually building a pizza franchise, so I know what it's like to have a lot of overhead, with paying rent and paying electric bills and gas bills and, employee wages and all that stuff. And when Brandon first pitched the idea to me, he pitched it in a manner of, you can make a lot of money doing something without all that overhead. And so I would say that's probably the thing that really piqued my interest is the thought of like not having a brick and mortar, but being able to make a residual income literally every single day.
Definitely. So would you kind of consider it like a side hustle for you right now?
For sure. You know, all my manufacturers currently are in China. So they're awake when I'm supposed to be sleeping. So I would get home at night after running my restaurant and they would be waking up. So it was the perfect opportunity to be able to do a side hustle at night, like you called it, when I wasn't sleeping anyways. Usually I was usually up. So I started talking to the manufacturers at night, kind of took off for me.
Sweet. Okay.
How many products do you have currently?
Well, I have 1,700 products sold.
Okay, so I get like a royalty on any of these?
No, let me slow down on how many products I have just for 1 second and tell you that, I'm 41 years old and I'm married with 3 kids. I've been starting off relatively slow. I started with 1 product, then I went to 2, then I went to a variation of the first product that I made, and now I'm working on really my 3rd new product right now. I only have 3 going. I might have went a little bit harder, a little faster if I didn't have a family to think about, because for me, I didn't want to take unnecessary risks up front. I've been kind of safe with it, but it's paid off.
Nice. That's really cool to hear. I mean, plus, it's not like you don't have anything else going on, right? Like you're building a pizza franchise, so like it's definitely something that you need to maybe kind of take a slower approach at.
Plus, my wife thought I was crazy when I got involved in it, so I had to, pump the brakes a little bit.
Gotta look at the source. Oh yeah, I'm sure that's legit.
I'm sure that will work.
Yeah.
Private label, right? Is kind of what your niche is.
I mean, it's simple, but it's not easy. You find a product that's not completely saturated and you find a way to make it better. And I've always told Brandon, I want to be organically showing up on page 1, and I know that sounds simple. Like I said, it's a simple philosophy, but it's not easy to do. So it takes a long time to find that product and make it better than everyone else's and try to get organically placed on page 1. And we've been able to do that now 3 times, which has been pretty cool.
It's actually like irritating how like it works for him, because like all the things that are important that like I consider when I'm looking at products like aren't even a factor, and he's still able to have the products be at the top of the page, and he's very careful with the product selection.
What is your thought process like when it comes to like a product and like thinking of one?
I would say bundle or kit. I'll take a product and I turn it into a bundle. I think one of the best tips I ever got from Brandon was you find a product that's not saturated, and then you find out what customers usually buy with that product. You know what I mean? When you go to checkout of Amazon, they're going to make a suggestion of, hey, these things are recently normally purchased together, and that's kind of how I've built my company so far, is finding products that are normally purchased together, but bundling them together. So it's just one click for the customer instead of them having to buy, from a couple different sellers, if that makes sense.
You've seen success early here. What is your idea of success, I would say?
Yeah, and this may sound weak. I don't know, but my ideas of success is having multiple products doing at least 5,000 in sales a month. Okay, that needs to be the minimum for a product for me. 5,000. Obviously, I want to do more than that, but that is success for me. If I'm able to private label a product, we're hitting that 5K a month in sales. I'm patting myself on the back.
I think there's a bit of safety with that approach too. Everyone wants that product that does 50,000 a month, and then Amazon comes and slaps you in the face, and you can't have that product anymore. Then your business is gone. Or if you have stock issues, like you're waiting for all your inventory to come in for that one product. It's on a boat that's stuck sideways,
Yeah.
But when you've got multiple products that help really build that foundation, and then it's really just a rinse and repeat thing, So yeah, I think you've taken a smart approach.
Thanks. And it may sound real simple again, but I want to be able to have 600 units made and shipped directly into Amazon without having to worry about getting hit with fees because I'm in their warehouse too long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that is success to me, is being able to private label a product that I can ship directly in, never touch, and sell out of rather quickly, and never have to worry about, paying those storage fees.
Did you consider at all wholesale, arbitrage, anything like that?
So I'm a pretty simple-minded human being. So when Brandon has a way of multitasking like no one I've ever seen. I have, every time I talk to him, he's talking about something else, and my mind just doesn't function like that. I kind of grabbed a hold of private label, and I said this is going to be my thing, and I really haven't looked at anything else, because again, if I try to focus on too many things, then I just do a bunch of things poorly instead of focusing in on that one thing and doing it, to the best of my ability.
Called ADHD.
Brand, it's funny because it's like, hey man, how you doing? Oh man, it's really taken off. But now we're gonna do CBD, So I have to stay focused, otherwise I kind of fizzle out.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're always on the move, man.
I mean, that's how I am, just as a person, but also the diversity that you have with, a few products, and those are going to together are going to create your little empire. That's how I view these business opportunities is, if one takes a hit, I have other things that are, able to offset that. But it does get exhausting mentally when you're spread out all over the place and jumping around. But there is some safety in that too.
And we touched on it earlier. I'm pizza from 9 a.m. to 9 o'clock at night, and then I'm able to set that completely down and then work on my Amazon. So I do multitask, but it's it's almost like having two jobs. You clock out of the first one and then move to the second one, but I don't think I can get a third job or a 50th job like Brandon has.
You're a very busy individual, like you were just saying. How do you find balance with everything? Because it's definitely not easy.
Balance is easy for me with Amazon because I never really slept. I was always up late anyways. You know what I mean? So it just gave me an opportunity to use those hours where I wasn't being productive now to be able to be productive when maybe I was just watching Netflix until 3 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just about using those hours, because in the US, I mean, at some point your pizza shop is going to close, and you're not going to keep making money there at 3 o'clock in the morning. I guess you could, but I'm not interested in that.
Gas station pizza.
Yeah, there you go.
Your approach to the business allowed for you to be balanced too. You had one concept, you had, lower competition products. You're able to just focus on one thing at a time and gradually add those to your catalog. And so you took a very well-paced approach to begin with, to help maintain that balance, and it's paid off.
For the longest time, I used to tell myself I'm going to get better at things I'm not good at. And then I realized that that's not actually what I needed to be doing. What I needed to be doing was focusing on the things I am good at and doing more of that, but hiring other people to do the things I wasn't good at, if that makes sense. So when it came to creating marketing material and stuff like that, I wasn't great at that. So I hired that done. So all my images on Amazon are being created by a professional, not by me. And that also frees up my time, because I'm not sitting in front of a computer making up crappy graphics to try to sell a product.
That's great advice. that's one of my weak spots is like, I'm that jack of all trades, like, oh, I can do this, but I'm not going to do it as well as someone that you could just pay to do it. And then the things that like I am good at, sometimes will suffer from me trying to learn too many things too. So yeah, that's a good lesson there.
No doubt.
You're running a very successful pizza franchise. Did you take anything from like that process and kind of translate it to private label?
It pretty much goes hand in hand. No matter what kind of business you're running, whether it's e-commerce or a restaurant, a lot of those principles translate from one business to the other. One thing that really sticks out to me is the fact that in my pizza business, I'm a fanatic about customer service, and I'm still that way when it comes to Amazon. I got a bad review here recently, and I chased that person down on Amazon and fixed it. And I got them to totally rewrite the review instead of just being like, oh, well, I got this one bad review. So I would say that that's something that I translated over pretty easy, but that's just who I am.
Yeah, he's literally obsessed.
I am.
Well, they employ me. That's the way I've always looked at it. My customers employ me like I work for them. And it's no different with Amazon. And that's actually how Amazon was built. They actually built Amazon based on how do we make this great for the customer. Every decision they made was based on making it a great experience for the customer.
Yeah. And that, occasionally makes it challenging to be a seller on Amazon. Like they have that equal obsession with customer satisfaction. But I think that also helps, people that are legit to stand out and to be able to have longevity in their business by doing it the right way. When I was learning about Amazon several years ago, most of the people that were like trying to get people involved in the business are, get away from the rat race, quit your job and do this, right? The approach that you have is you basically just built a business in addition to something that you're doing. It hasn't replaced that. Do you think that not falling for like the hype, but just like viewing this as a legit business opportunity and taking the patient approach that you have, do you think that that's contributed to a lot of the success?
I looked at it like this, and you might remember me saying this to you, Brandon, early on, but I said, if I can get Amazon to pay my mortgage, rock solid. That's what I was going for.
He lives in a mobile home. His mortgage is like $200 a month. So
I'm in my parents' basement. No, but seriously, I don't mean to sound like a loser here when it comes to Amazon, but like I was not the guy that was like, I'm going to make $1 million. Now it could happen, but my goal, it's incremental. Like, let's start off and pay my mortgage every month. And then my next goal is, could I pay my mortgage twice or 24 times in 1 year off of Amazon? And then what's next for me after that? It's just little steps to get to where I want to go. Ultimately, I think it's a sickness to never be satisfied. Like I told Brandon the other day, I remember a point in time where I said, man, if I'm doing XYZ on Amazon, I would just be happy as could be. And now I'm doing that, and I'm like, what's next? Where can I take it from here?
Yeah.
But I do think for me in this particular endeavor, I think patience has been important for what I've been able to do so far.
Nice. For someone who is interested in private label, what's like a piece of advice that you could give to them if they're interested or want to know more?
I have never beat up my supplier. Okay. When I found a supplier that I knew I could trust and they gave me a price, obviously I'm going to try to negotiate. But when I can tell that it's, we're at the bottom line, I stop, I thank them, and we move forward. And I've tried to find a balance between me hitting my goals, but also them wanting to do business with me because they're also doing well. So that would be the advice I would give, is find a good supplier. Don't beat the snot out of them. Try to create a relationship that will carry on for years and years. At first, you're dealing with China, and it's it's a completely different country, so you're like, this is shady, and they could take advantage of me. But it was Brandon that told me early on. He goes, listen, man, they want to do business just like you want to do business. So, it was kind of that mindset where I was like, let's just trust that's true. And it has been. I haven't had any issues dealing overseas yet. I think that's because they want to do business with you just like you want to do business on Amazon.
When you're not trying to, nickel and dime, get the absolute cheapest price, or you just, aren't very humanly with them, that almost invites, problems. So
yes.
Kind of what I'm sensing from basically everything that you've been saying this little while is just the relationships with people, how important that is really with any business. Even though e-commerce, you don't have a ton of like face-to-face interactions, treating people right in every facet of the business, whether it's your customer, your supplier, how far that goes.
Yep, absolutely.
Doug, thank you so much for joining us and being here.
Been waiting all day for this. I was going to start drinking early this morning, but didn't.
Turns out you started drinking last night and just haven't stopped. So. We appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's been a treat.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing your little nuggets of wisdom.
No problem, man.
There isn't much for people to glean off of, but hopefully they can find something. So.
It's good you don't have any subscribers at this point.
Touche. We appreciate
all right, guys.
it. Take care. Have a good one.
Such a good interview. Such a good guy. We definitely enjoyed having him on the podcast, and we'll definitely have to have him back soon. Ask him some more questions.
After his next product launch.
There you go.
Which is coming. He hasn't told me what it is yet.
He hasn't?
I'm curious. No.
Ooh.
That's when I know it's big, because like the first three, he's like, hey, this, and I'm like, okay. And now he's like, I can't tell you. So he's got confidence in what he's doing, and it's probably going to be the biggest thing yet.
That's really cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's good. He has a lot of good ideas.
I look at Doug as a mentor, but like from the Amazon world, he's almost like a student, for me. So our relationship, it like flips depending on like what we're doing, what we're talking about. But yeah, there's definitely a lot that I've learned from him, and hopefully I've taught him a few things too.
I'm sure you have. I mean, in the interview, he definitely gave you a lot of praise for quite a few things.
He was being recorded. There was a gun to his head in that basement. That's not his basement, by the way. He's got a super nice, or it is his basement, but it's not his mom's basement. Like I said. He has a super nice house.